engage with social media daily. This is one of the highest percentages anywhere in the world. And the forecast for the UAE, for example, is 96% a high mobile internet penetration by 2025, which is this year. If people tell you that this is only for the young, the research shows that older people, 65 and older, are also consuming information on mobile devices. So, while both the US and Arab countries are experiencing a shift towards digital, the Arab world shows a particularly high engagement with social media. One of the highest in the world is in this region. So there are more young readers relying on TikTok, on Facebook, on Instagram to get their information. So we're going to talk about how do you attract these audiences. You have to tell stories that are crafted for the smallest platform. So we're going to talk about that. You have to think mobile first. Regardless of what you're creating, a story, a feature story, a news story, you think from small to large, not from large to small. I work with media outlets all over the world, and what I see is that even if they tell you that they're digital first, the planning is done for larger platforms and the consumption is on the small platform. So the readers want to have an experience on the small platform where they can hear, where they can see. So it's not just reading, it's more than that. And so the way you tell stories is exactly the way you do a WhatsApp conversation. You write and you show. You write and you show. So that brings us to this. When I was researching my book, I found out that the large majority of media organizations create content. If they are digital, they are creating it for the computer screen and not for the phone. So there is content is created for horizontal and is consumed like that. 75% of all concept in the world is conceptualized for a horizontal platform and then transferred to a small one. But 82% of the consumption is done on a small format. Uh, this is a typical PDF from a university. PDFs, there is 125 million of them, all done like it was 1960 in this format. So what happens? You're trying to read this on the phone and it looks like this, and then half of the text is hanging out. We do this because we're not planning vertical consumption of any of this. It's not just journalism. It's whether you create a thesis, a scientific paper, this is the way it is. It would be better if you would do this. Okay? And so children always knew how to do that. The way children's stories are written is the way you write stories. A child will tell you the zoo is a jail, the cages are small, the tiger was crying. The child would draw a picture of the tiger crying. This is 1926 edition of Winnie the Pooh, and it looks exactly like an Instagram of today, because children, you have to show and write and show. And if I were to get your phone right now, your WhatsApp conversations, I just arrived in Riyadh, picture. Look how sunny it is, picture. We don't write all the text and do a photo gallery. That's what we do in the media. We do 25 photos and then people read, which is the mentality of print. In print, you read first, you look at photos first, and then you read. That is the opposite here. This is how we read in print. We all look at the photos, and then maybe we read the text. This is the way we read on mobile. We read and we see. We read and you see. So we call that type of journalism linear storytelling. Linear storytelling means that it's in a linear format. It's vertical. In my class, I don't allow the students to bring horizontal paper to the class. If you bring paper from the copy machine, you cut it in half, so you're constantly looking, you're sketching, doing anything on vertical rather than horizontal. This is an example from my Arab language newspaper clients. I don't think that in this PDF we can show the story, but this was a very interesting story they did, showing how the palace looked after the revolution came and the king was out. And so this story, I want you to make sure that you take a look, click on that, and take a look at how that story was formatted. You have the images, you have the text and image. If they show you how the closet of this man looked, or the cars that he had in the garage, they're showing you the text, and then they're showing you exactly what was done there. This is a New York Times doing a story about entertainment. But all of those, when you looked at them on the phone, all of those are video clips. So you come into the story with a little bit of cinematography. So the journalist of today, in a good media house of today, you're not just producing text. You are television, radio, cinematography, all of the above in a very small format. So I want you to look at the story in the New York Times, Dancing with the Stars. When you first come into the phone, what you see is video clips to get you excited about the story. We no longer can do journalism where everything is static, photography. You need video and you need audio. And so in order to do that, we create templates. I work with my clients creating templates. The story that you saw here, this is a template. But you could do this for a political story. You could do this for a cooking story. The template says you begin with 6 or 7 small video images, and the headline is in the middle. That's a template. The creative process to do this is exactly like if you were a movie director. Alfred Hitchcock, this is from the movie The Birds. All movie directors will do the storyboard vertically, scene by scene. A writer today does the same. And so you create an outline like the one you see here. I'm going to begin my story with a video, and then I'm going to continue with a headline. Then I'm going to have a photograph. So the new journalism, the new way of storytelling is closer to cinematography. I train my students to do the outline of the story vertically, and sometimes the beginning of the story is a video. And so this is a typical template that I will do with my clients. In this template, you want to begin with a photograph that has a headline over. Then you have text, then you have photos, subhead, maybe a video. This is a typical story concept for how to tell a story for mobile. Multimedia, you have photos, you have infographics, you have a combination of elements. And suddenly, we now have artificial intelligence, which is the subject of my new book, AI, The Next Revolution in Content Creation. And this is quite confusing to journalists. I'm the oldest person in the world talking about this, but I believe in artificial intelligence. I teach it to my students, and I'm going to share some of that. This is the mantra of my book. Artificial intelligence begins with a human. Everything the robots have learned, they learn from humans. The humans wrote, the humans created, and then it begins with a human, then there is the robots giving you back, and then at the end, a human has to check because these robots sometimes hallucinate. So how are newsrooms, newspapers, magazines around the world using AI? The latest study was done in the UK last month, and it shows you that the most important thing happening right now is that media houses are creating policies. You have to already have guidelines. How do we use AI in this newspaper, in this magazine? If you don't have that, chances are you'll be in trouble. You will get in trouble. So this is the first part of the study. The second part is, and this is important, if you're not doing this already, you need to do this. You put the library of your magazine or your newspaper into the memory of the robots so that the information you get about your country, about what you cover, is going to be information that is more factual. AI seems to be creating new roles and not killing jobs. The misconception is that AI is going to come in and steal the jobs. In many newsrooms, they're adding jobs because of AI. And one of the things to remember is that AI is not writing stories yet. Most newspapers use AI for research, for background, but AI is not writing the story. So that is very clear here. And staff training. Most of the workshops I do in-house today is about prompt engineering. How can a journalist communicate with the robots? And so when it works, you need to remember AI is like a crane. It does the heavy lifting for you, but it cannot think. It doesn't have emotions. So this is like a crane in a construction site. If the humans had to take cement and tools up and down, it will never be finished. So think of AI as a crane that is there to assist you. It can generate story ideas. It can actually help you with interview questions. It can transform or transcribe documents, and it can also help you to translate. Those are the basic things that you already can do with AI. But this is the most important part. You would assume that media people will be the best to communicate with the robots, but they are not. They are lazy and they write very short prompts. The best prompts are long. You really put more words into it, so you will get more back from the robots. And that's what you feed the robot is what you're going to get back from the robot. There are a lot of experimentation in the media in Scandinavian countries for the most. In Norway, VG, the newspaper, offers a short version of all the stories. For the readers who just want the short version, AI does that. Very successfully, they've been able to do that. In Germany, the summarization of articles is done already by AI. So you can use this tool already to help, especially with mobile journalism. In New Zealand, this paper is using AI to generate routine announcement stories, things that you should not have a human journalist involved with. Let the human journalist do bigger stories. So if it's an announcement of what to do in the city today, AI can do that very well. The media landscape will continue to evolve, and you're going to have to adapt because you have these two revolutions taking place. The mobile first revolution is taking place, which is how prepared are you to write content specifically for the mobile device. And the second revolution is AI, which is like the invention of printing. It's not going to go away. It's very powerful. I have my information here so that you can write me, send me a question if you have it, but I will be able to answer questions for you here if you have about this quick summary of mobile and AI. Are there any questions? I have trouble listening, but if there are questions from the audience, I can handle them. Anybody has a question? Maybe if you have a microphone for them, I cannot hear them. Anybody has a question? No questions? Or you can email me so I can send you an answer. Okay? Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.